Welcome to this edition of Dufferin Life. I'm your host, Tina Avery. Thank you so much for tuning in today. So I love to bring in people who have interesting stories. And this particular lady that's joining me today has a very interesting and inspiring story of the entrepreneurial thought. So anyways, joining me today, we have Julie Thorogood Burnett. Thank you so much for joining me.
Thanks for having me.
Well, I wanted to bring you on. We've known each other a little while.
Yep.
And I've always found your story very fascinating. So let's start with, what you started doing when you started your career. What were you? How did you start out?
Oh, there's a long journey there. I always went to work for very big corporations. I worked for Dell, McDonald's, Zellers, which is coming back, and then decided that I no longer wanted to work for someone else. It just quite wasn't working with our lifestyle. Mm-hmm. And I started a marketing agency. And then went and partnered with Jess at Green Monkey Creative, and we ran that for about 4 years. But during lockdown, I decided to plant some lavender in my back garden, and I don't have a green thumb. Like, we've been on this farm for my husband; it's like 5th generation.
Okay,
and and here we are.
So you started to plant lavender with the thought that you were going to do something with the lavender, or just that you wanted to?
We were home, right? And normally we traveled a lot, so I thought, let's put some lavender in the garden. And my lovely friend Jamie Richards at Ambray Farm, I'm like, where do I get lavender from? And he goes, are you going in on something? And I said, I don't know. Let's see what happens. So now we've gone from 40 plants in 3 years to 6,000 plants.
That's impressive.
It's a little...
So it's become more than just a hobby and planting something.
Yes, because it took off. And then I went to my husband in tears one October, whatever year that was after the lockdown, and said, I can't do both anymore. I can't run half a company and this business that has just taken off from nowhere. I can't do both. So we made the decision. I sold my half of the agency, and now I do it full time. So
you've gone from the executive corporate life
to farm life.
That's phenomenal, because that's a big jump. Like that's not like a, like, hey, let's, I opened a marketing firm, maybe I should get into radio commercials, or you know what I mean, or like doing something, or voiceovers.
Yeah, like a branch from that. And I think for me, going back to what I went to school for, because I went for fashion, I went for marketing, and I never really did anything in fashion. And so and we had cosmetology, and so part of that was like, oh, I'm getting back into what I liked, but there wasn't really an opportunity when I was 18 to really get into that or want to be in that. So.
Well, I mean, that's the thing too. I mean, I went to school for marketing, and everyone, people branched out to advertising, whatever, public relations, all these different things that you had a chance to. And you when you get out of school, you kind of take what you can to get that job and get that experience, so that you can actually eventually have enough experience to get paid to do what you really want to do, or so there's a whole stepping stone process of where you're going once you're done these things, for sure.
Most definitely, and we're a little bit different, because we're not we don't charge people to come to our lavender farm. We want people to enjoy nature, because our focus is on our products, which we sell across North America. So that was always my focus. Was always the products, not the agritourism is a small part of our business, but it's still a good part of our business.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, and are you were you a specific fan of lavender? Like, I'm just curious how you picked lavender, and
so it's kind of, I never really told anyone, but I was like, I've never been to a lavender farm.
Okay.
So there's nothing magical, but it's kind of the background. I remember going to a medium, and she said, you're gonna have a peony farm, and I'm like, what? Okay. And so we joke about it now. I message her, I'm like, you were wrong about the flower. So I don't, I honestly, it was a whim. Like, there was nothing, and I went back to school online to learn all the things I kind of forgotten about, or things, and it has been, like, we've made mistakes, and we've grown, and we've learned, but I think the benefit for me was that background of marketing.
Yes.
Because I don't think it would be where it is today without, and probably 70% of my time is spent marketing.
Well, and I think that's it too. Like, people who own companies and start their own companies, if they don't have a marketing background, you hire somebody to do that marketing for you.
Right.
But you've got that solid background, especially in social media, and you're very prominent in social media as well.
Yeah.
Just to have that behind you. I mean, even for my smaller, like my event planning business, I have the marketing background, so I know where I want to market, how I want to do it, and what my plans are. Whereas when you own a business, you're making, I don't know, apple pie. You don't necessarily know how you want to market it, or what the best way to market apple pie is.
Yeah, because and when I speak at events, when people are like, I don't even know where to start, and I'm like, it's tough, and I can tell you where to start, but it's a lot of time. Like you can pay someone to do it, but are they going to want to, like, are they going to do it the way I couldn't pay someone to do what I do?
Yes.
Right? Because a lot of it can
time
be
consuming.
Yes. Like I spent the last 2 days like working on Pinterest, and you get sucked in, and it's like, oh, well, no, I've gone down that rabbit hole. So,
and there are many rabbit holes in social media. Like you can get, doing social media, and you're just scrolling, whether you're looking at a competitor, whether you're looking at whatever, and then all of a sudden you're like, and something, of course, because everything just pops up, and then you're like, oh, let's go over here, and then by the time you're done, you're like, do I have my competitive analysis of what they do on social media,
right,
in order to move forward? And hopefully you have, or you haven't got lost looking at, I don't know.
The engagement, right? Because it's not just posting; it's having those conversations, and a lot of my like Instagram's really big for us. And having those relationships with my audience, because they'll come into the store and they'll be like, oh, and I'm like, oh, what's your username, right? Like, because they talk to people all the time. Like, I'm on all the time.
Oh.
And that's...
Okay, so you started with a few plants.
Yes.
And what made you expand? Like, what made you think I can do this and
my husband, it's his fault. So when when I researched what products to make, where we decided to infuse the lavender to make a skincare line with the all the benefits of lavender in, not just adding essential oil, we sold out. And at this point, I was in our basement. Like, it was all set up, and I was like, this is a cute little hobby. It's really neat. And we sold out, and he's like, let's go big. And I'm like, what? And he goes, well, we have that riding paddock. It's 2 acres. Let's go. And I go, well, how much? And of course, he's an engineer, so he has little calculations. And he's like, well, let's do 3,000. I was like, I was terrified. Like, I was like, this isn't, like, I didn't want to start up a new company.
Right.
I knew I had an exit plan from Green Monkey, that I wanted to get out eventually and retire early. Yeah, that didn't start.
You're too young to retire anyway.
Yeah, but I wanted to slow down a little bit. So it was either sink or swim, and I put it off ordering for probably about a month. And then I said, are you really all in on this? And I think he was anxious to get back into the tractor, and really, because he handles all the operations, he handles anything financial on that end. So it really became, because we both have our separate companies, you couldn't talk about each other's company, right? Like, you could offer advice, but we were very protective of our companies. So this was kind of neat that the empire kind of came together, and we've found our niche of what you do and what you do well, and away we go. So, and I'm not I don't even know how to drive a tractor. Still don't. But I am the one out cutting, and I'm weeding, and I'm doing all those things. Like, I still touch everything.
Right.
Which limits my time for a lot of things like social. So,
yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So let's talk about the delve into products. So you started with something simple.
Yeah, four products.
Okay.
And now we're at 25.
25 products.
Yeah.
So, let's just talk about the benefits of lavender. Like, what can lavender do to help people?
So it is a antioxidant. It also is very healing for your skin. It's aromatherapy. So they use a lot of times in cancer treatment. They're doing some testing where they put lavender pads on people. So, but you only have a short period where you stop sensing that smell. So they're doing some testing now of how lavender can help cancer patients, which is pretty amazing. So it's good for, I have clients, and it's really, so I have to be very careful because I know what it does, but Health Canada doesn't let us.
Okay.
Right? Because it's not a drug.
Right.
But it does, like when I've had clients that have eczema and it's cleared it up, or psoriasis, burns. I have people writing me all the time, they're like, I fell down. I had a friend that fell down and broke her wrist and mashed up her face. And I'm like, put that oil on her face. And then she shows me 2 days later and there's nothing left. So it's such simple ingredients. It's just all the vitamins, because we only use 3 types of oil. We keep everything very simple, very pure and organic. We don't have an organic label. That's a whole other... And I'm not really sure people believe it anymore. Like, it's a tough, a tough sell. So we do everything organically. Like, we don't use chemicals. We don't do anything. Everything we get is from Canada, which is tough at times, especially after our whole, I hate the word COVID, but I mean, we're still dealing with fulfillment issues and whatnot. But I think I really wanted to move away from everyone thinking it's like their grandmother's lavender. So right, like the Yardley, the little and nothing against Yardley, but we were so used to that. So it is a learning for our clients. Our stuff doesn't really smell super strong.
Right. Well, I'll be honest. Lavender is not my favorite scent. Like I've got some in my garden.
Yep.
I'm not going to start with one plant and go to 6,000.
Yeah.
I don't have that kind of space, and someone's already doing it.
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
but yeah, it's not my favorite. So like faint would be nice, but
Yes.
like I find it sometimes it can be overpowering, and I know it's used a lot with soothing, like just
Yes,
sleep
and going to sleep
yeah.
and rubbing it on your, like you can rub the oils on your feet to help go to sleep. It helps insomnia. It helps also with acne. But gosh, there's so many. Like there's actual, like in the oils we use too, has like a natural retinol. So all these things that, and it's one of those products. I was talking to Kindness Candles yesterday, Heather. And she's like, people just have to try the product. She was like, I'm hooked, or you're not hooked, but you don't know until you try it, right?
Yeah.
And so that's being in the beauty industry is a little bit more tough. You're surrounded, right? You walk through a store. How do you choose?
Yeah.
How do you know?
And you don't know. Like I mean, like it's when even if you're talking about buying a car, you do your research, but do you really know? Like there's no way of knowing until you actually try something or buy a product and give it a try, right?
Yeah. So, and there are a lot of times when people come into the store and then all of a sudden they'll be like, oh, my daughter has shingles. And I'm like, here, take this. And they're like, well, no, I'll buy it. And I go, no, just take it. And they're like, and I go, oh, I can do what I want. Like, but just getting it in people's hands. And a big part of our business is customer service and doing that extra step. Like we still, even with the volume, like I'm handwriting notes every order that goes out. It's, a lot of times I'm packing them at 11 o'clock at night just to get them out for the next day. But that I never want to lose. So that's a tough one to maintain because I see how people go, oh, I'm going to go to pre-printed thank you notes. I don't want to be there.
Yeah.
Right. So, and as we grow, like we're up to 10 staff. So how do you hand over the stuff that you've touched?
Yeah.
Right? And you know what that's like.
I do. I made a face. You didn't see it on camera, but I literally made a face saying, handing things over, it's so difficult. But like, I don't know how to do that either myself.
Yeah.
Sometimes people have to kind of knock me.
It's tough because it's in your head.
Yeah.
And you've done it and so to explain it and then you don't have that extra time to manage that. So it's a tough.
Yeah. And you want to make sure it's been doing right. We've got about 1 minute left, and I just want to talk about where do you see yourself in 5 years?
That's a great one because I don't really do goals. I don't know, maybe stepping back a little bit where my kids take over a little bit more. I think that's where I am. I mean, we're across North America now, so I don't know.
I know it's hard, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. It really is.
Aren't we supposed to have marketing plans? Yeah.
What?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
But I mean, that's a phenomenal journey that you've had because, being in the corporate world, which I was for a short span of time and, moving forward, and I used to do trade shows all over the world and you're like, oh, now I've started my business that is this. And you have to make a decision as a business owner whether to keep it as this, go somewhere in between or go bigger. But you've done an amazing job.
Well, thank you.
Wonderful.
Thank you.
Well, thank you for joining me, Julie. And
Thanks for having me.
It was my pleasure. And thank you for joining us. And don't go anywhere because we'll be right back. And so we're still on screen.
I'm Justice.
And I'm Nia. And we believe dreams fuel revolutions.
That's why we're engaging with Canadian icons and the causes they support.
Join us for these inspiring conversations and find out how you can be revolutionary.
This week on Dufferin Life, meet a woman that began her career in the corporate world focused on innovative marketing strategies, and now she runs a successful lavender farm. Learn more about this inspiring entrepreneur. The Dufferin County Cultural Resource Circle has been making Indigenous culture available to all of us in Dufferin County, and now they're bringing it to the next level with art shows, unique cuisine, and music festivals. I can't wait to share these stories with you. Tune in to Dufferin Life right here on Rogers TV, Dufferin-Caledon.
I'm Eric Marchinosa's Cinema Scene in Review. Join me for a monthly movie roundup of new releases either in theaters or available to stream. See you next time in Review.
Welcome back to Dufferin Life. If you're just tuning in, thank you so much for joining us. So we have a familiar face that's here today, and we're here to talk about some exciting things that are happening in Dufferin County and that will be happening over the next year or so. Joining me today, we have Deb Edgerton. Thank you so much for joining us.
Happy to be here as always.
And you are here from the Dufferin County Dufferin County Cultural Resource Circle. There we go. It's always a tongue tie for me, but
Just go with the DCCRC, everybody.
DCCRC.
It's so much simpler.
Yeah, absolutely. But I want to make sure that everybody knows what we're here and
Yeah.
talking about. So we have some exciting things that are happening.
Yeah. This year we got a grant from the Rural Tourism of Ontario. FedDev is the formal funding, and they have allowed us to do an all Indigenous art show this year.
Amazing.
We've partnered up with the Museum of Dufferin. So they're really excited. They've been doing our promotions and things and having fun with that, which takes a lot of stress off.
Absolutely. It's a lot of work. Like when you're putting
It
on an
is.
event, you can't just think about the event. You have to think about how you promote that event and making sure that people are coming to your event. And then you have to worry about, the day before, like hopefully they're all coming.
Yeah. I think we put out special invitations. We've put out 600 of them.
Amazing.
Special invites. So people, like the political people, your MP, your MPP, your local county, the county council, town councils, everybody's been invited in that aspect. Even you have should have gotten an invitation if you haven't.
Yes, I have. I have for sure. So let's talk about when the art show is and what we can expect.
Absolutely. The art show is going to be on the 3rd of March.
Okay.
It'll start at 6. The greatest thing is this is an entire Indigenous process. It's incredible. We have got a drum group coming called the Chippewa Travelers.
Okay.
Great, one of the top drum groups in the powwow circuit.
Oh, nice.
So it'll be fabulous. A couple of jingle dress dancers. We're going to get a release of a brand new song from one of the singers on the drum. We're having a brand new release as well. One of the artists just did a brand new painting and brought it down special to reveal. This will be the first reveal.
Nice.
Anywhere.
Very exciting.
It is.
Yeah.
So that's Janice Toulouse. So Janice is very popular in Europe, but she's also quite popular here. She's got pieces all over the place. The museum, bigger museums in Toronto have got her pieces there, and she's right now in one of the subway stations in Toronto.
Oh, okay.
So yeah, she's pretty large. We have a couple of locals. One named Sharon Rigby. She did a beautiful, what did she call it? It's a medicine basket.
Okay.
It's done like a traditional, like a basket. And what she's done is she's torn the Indian Act, and pieces of the Indian Act are put into.
Oh, wow.
It's a beautiful basket, something to come and see. There's Josh, who is going to be coming locally as well. We have an amazing chef going to be doing the catering. His name is Sean Adler. You probably might know the name.
Sounds familiar.
The Adlers own the Glasscraft.
Okay.
So this is one of their boys.
Oh, okay.
And he owns 2 restaurants. One in Toronto called the Powwow Cafe. I recommend to go down there because powwow food is like incredible. And of course, he's got another one up in
Eugenia?
Eugenia.
Okay.
Thank you. It's called the Flying Chestnut Kitchen.
Okay. Awesome.
Try and say that 5 times fast, right?
Oh, I have a hard enough time.
And so he's also well known in the fact that he is one of the chefs on the Wall of Chefs from the Food Network.
Okay.
He's on that.
And he's local, is he not? Well, because he's local.
Yeah, he's local. So it's kind of exciting having one of our own homegrown native indigenous chefs coming to do this. Now, the fun of it is we have hooked him also for our dinner, which is kind of a celebration of the art show. So it kind of, we were planning to do it at the end of the art show, but the art show is ending on the 29th of March.
Right.
Which is the middle of a week. So we put it the weekend prior.
Okay.
He's going to be doing an amazing dinner. Oh my heavens. We're talking elk and duck and buffalo.
Wow. So a very unique cuisine.
Incredible.
Yeah.
But it's gonna be fabulous. Of course, I want everybody to know these are also child friendly because we don't have alcohol at any event that the DCCRC does.
Okay.
Because it's very important for us that we just ensure that that kind of connection stays, right?
Yes.
So, and I believe it's an opportunity for so many people to come. And actually the art show is a great place to bring your children because we're going to have some amazing elders there that can answer questions that the kids are learning at school.
And I think that's really important too, because I mean, I've had this conversation about different aspects of life and different cultures and that sort of thing, where a lot of the times when we're growing up and we're learning history, we're not learning Indigenous history, we're learning Canadian history, we're not learning Black history, we're not learning, like, I mean, there's little bits and pieces that come in, but there's never anything that just focuses on it. So I think that events like this, where people can talk about the history and talk about the culture, it just helps to create that awareness, and it makes everybody more familiar with it. They're able to enjoy it, and it makes it, I think, just there's an acceptance when everybody knows about it. Like, I feel like if you don't know about it, you're a little hesitant to learn or accept or get involved in it because you have that. Yeah.
But that's the thing that I've been working on for the last, would you believe this? It'll be 9 years this year.
Really been 9 years?
I know, right? But yeah, December 10th will be our 9th year here. So in that 9 years, the thing that we've been trying to do is lead to projects such as this, in that we had to start small and get the building of the bridges so that we could get some understanding and process. So these two events, this dinner and the art show, are all leading to the Indigenous Peoples Day.
Right, in June.
In June, which of course is not going to be its typical day here. So what I mean by that is you're not going to be experiencing powwow so much.
Right.
So you won't see as much regalia, you won't see what traditionally people look for. So what you're going to find, we're going to have the artisans and the carvers and the painters, and actually the mayor has asked us to put a display for the whole day in Town Hall.
Nice.
So we're working on sorting all of that out. But yeah.
So it's just bringing it to the next level, right? Like, I mean, you've done an amazing job of being a part of the community and educating the community, and, you know, and I think what people, and you're right, what people need to see now is that next level up, that next step up, that whole, okay, so now you've learned some of the, for lack of a better term, the basics, right? You've learned some of
the traditions.
And so by doing more and bringing it up more, then people can experience more.
Exactly. Right? We're also going to have a stage, like we always do. That'll be something we do all the time. Of course, Larry Kurtz is going to be coming. I already touched base with him, so I can confirm that.
Wonderful.
And we're going to have some Indigenous musicians from the different genres. So you've got your jazz players, you've got your country players, you've got your rappers, you've got your rock. They're all here, and there is a pile of Indigenous musicians, and that's what I'm going to be promoting.
Yeah, no, that's amazing. So like a mini music festival I think that sounds like an absolute amazing event. And I want to make sure that we touch on just before, so we don't miss out on it, is the date of the dinner and where it is and where people can get tickets.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
I apologize, silly me. I get so excited about all of this new stuff. So, of course, the art show itself is going to be held at the Museum of Dufferin. Anybody who can't get there by car, I would love for them to reach out, because if I can fill a bus, I work for a bus company now.
Okay.
So I'm arranging for people to be able to get out there.
Oh, wonderful. That's
Anybody
awesome.
who wants to go. And it will be free.
And the grand opening is March 3rd, but it's running until the end of the month.
Yeah, the art show will run until the end of the month. If you want to catch the grand opening, great. If you can't and you still want to go, get in touch with me, and I'll if I can fill a bus, it'll be worthwhile.
Yeah,
making
absolutely.
Sure everybody goes. The dinner will be the 17th of March, which of course is St. Patrick's Day. But we prefer to look at it as Introduction to Indigenous Cuisine Day.
Okay. Sounds divine and delicious all at once.
The dinner, we're calling it a night to remember.
Because it will be. Absolutely. Like and it's happening at Menorah Park?
Yes, sorry, it's at Menorah Park in the pavilion in the ballroom.
That sounds like a lot of fun. Like, I think that experiencing the cuisine is something different, because when you say, I've had a few things, like I've had duck before, and not cooked in the same way, I'm sure.
And elk.
And elk. See, that I've never had. I have had moose.
Have you had buffalo?
I have never had buffalo.
But if you think of a cow and you take every ounce of fat out, you get buffalo.
Really?
Yes.
That sounds delicious.
It is exactly the same.
I just would never think of eating buffalo. You know what I mean? Like, it's just not something that you would.
No,
you know.
but it is a really good food. And actually, health-wise, it's better for you because there is less fat and more iron and protein.
Okay. And where can people get tickets?
The tickets are on Eventbrite.
Okay.
That's where we're selling them through. They are $200.
Okay.
So this is not for everybody, this one, but if you can afford it, it's well worth it.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
Because it's a unique opportunity. This will be kind of an introduction to what we want to do. It's a big
Moving forward,
it's a big hush-hush thing at the moment, but there are bigger things yet to come.
Wonderful. I want to thank you, Deb, so much for joining us today and sharing all this amazing information about these events. And I want to thank you for joining us. And until next time, bye-bye for now.
Call the Rogers TV viewer response line, email us, or connect with us on social media.